Everyone claims to know the truth about Rolex, but most of what you hear about waterproofing, accuracy, scarcity, even investment value does not survive a closer look. Why do so many of us repeat myths built on misunderstood technical specs and marketing spin? When lab ratings, steel formulas, and waiting lists hide more than they reveal, the real question is, what are you actually getting for the price? And who benefits from all this confusion? We will challenge those stories, one myth at a time. Rolex built its reputation on the promise of watches that could survive the ocean's depths. The word waterproof once appeared in their ads, but today, every Rolex is labeled water-resistant, a technical distinction with real consequences. The Submariner, for example, carries a 300-meter rating. That number is achieved in a controlled laboratory with a brand new watch, fresh gaskets, and a perfectly screwed-down crown. In the real world, water resistance fades as seals age, gaskets dry out, and the crown is opened and closed for setting the time. Watchmakers report that most water damage comes not from catastrophic case failures, but from worn gaskets or a crown that was not properly secured. Even a minor impact or a quick dip with the crown unscrewed can let water in. The 300-meter figure is not a guarantee for every wrist, every day. It is a best-case scenario. Annual pressure checks and regular servicing are the only way to keep a watch anywhere near its rated depth. No mechanical watch is ever truly waterproof. The numbers on the dial are a starting point, not an indestructible promise. A 100-meter rating appears impressive on paper, but that number alone does not make a watch a true dive instrument. The standards for dive watches are set by ISO 6425, and they go well beyond simple depth testing. To qualify, a watch must pass several requirements: a unidirectional bezel for tracking elapsed time underwater, luminous hands and markers visible in total darkness, a secure strap or bracelet that will not fail if snagged, and a condensation test to check for leaks after rapid temperature changes. Shock resistance and anti-magnetic properties are also part of the checklist. The Date Just, for example, carries a 100-meter rating but lacks a rotating bezel and a full luminous layout. It is water-resistant for daily life, but it is not certified for diving. Only models like the Submariner and Sea Dweller meet the full set of criteria. ISO 6425 is about features and tested reliability, not just a number printed on the dial. For actual safety underwater, those details matter. Rolex is often described as the gold standard for mechanical watch accuracy, but the reality is more nuanced than marketing slogans suggest. The term superlative chronometer stamped on every modern Rolex refers to a specific set of tolerances. After casing, each movement must run within -2 to +2 seconds per day. This standard is stricter than the official COSC chronometer certification, which allows a range of -4 to +6 seconds per day for uncased movements. Yet even these figures are measured under controlled conditions. Once a watch leaves the factory, daily accuracy is shaped by how it is worn, the position it rests in overnight, exposure to temperature swings, and even stray magnetic fields from electronics. Most owners will see their watches vary by several seconds a day, sometimes better, sometimes worse. For mechanical watches, this is exceptional performance, but it is not perfection. Quartz watches, by comparison, typically drift less than half a second per month. Rolex achievement lies in consistency and mechanical engineering, not in defying the laws of physics. The promise is reliability, not absolute precision. Rolex's reputation for rarity is at odds with the reality of its production scale. Swiss export data shows Rolex manufactures close to 1 million watches every year, sometimes even more. That is a figure unmatched by most of its luxury competitors. For comparison, Patek Philippe produces around 60,000 watches annually. This level of output makes Rolex the largest single luxury watchmaker in the world by volume. Yet walk into most authorized dealers and the display cases for steel sports models are empty. The perception of scarcity is not driven by low production, but by how watches are distributed and who gets access to them. The myth of natural rarity persists because Rolex never publishes official numbers, and the retail experience is defined by waiting lists and empty shelves. In truth, the brand's strength lies in its ability to produce at scale while maintaining consistent quality, not in making a handful of watches each year. There is no global waiting list for Rolex. Instead, each authorized dealer decides who gets access to the most sought-after models and how quickly. Allocation is not a lottery or a first-come, first-served system. Dealers keep their own internal lists, often prioritizing long-term clients or those with a record of buying jewelry and less popular watches. For someone walking in off the street, the odds of getting a stainless steel Daytona or a Pepsi GMT are slim to none. An authorized dealer manager explains that they receive limited allocations and prioritize long-standing clients. This approach is standard across luxury goods from handbags to supercars. Scarcity is managed at the retail level, not by Rolex headquarters. The perception that missing out on a watch means you are being scammed ignores how luxury allocation has always worked. Dealers exercise discretion, rewarding loyalty and purchase history, which fuels frustration but is not unique to Rolex. The system protects brand value and maintains demand. Rolex calls its proprietary steel oyster steel. The number behind the name is 904L, a high-alloy stainless steel developed for chemical and marine environments. Compared to the more common 316L steel used by most watchmakers, 904L offers greater resistance to corrosion, especially from salt water and sweat. This is why vintage Rolex cases often hold their shine decades later, while others show pitting or rust. The alloy's high nickel and chromium content, along with added copper and molybdenum, make it tougher against chemical attack. But no matter how advanced the metallurgy, 904L steel is not immune to scratches. Owners will notice hairlines and dings on polished and brushed surfaces, sometimes after just a few days of wear. A materials engineer explains that 904L is about corrosion resistance, not scratch proofing. The practical benefit is longevity and luster, not invincibility. Expect a Rolex to withstand harsh environments, but not to emerge unmarked from daily use. Secondary market prices for Rolex watches can swing wildly from year to year. During the boom from 2020 to 2022, models like the Steel Daytona and the Pepsi GMT soared well above retail, with some premiums doubling in just months. By 2024, those same watches lost up to 40% of their peak value as supply caught up and hype faded. A market analyst explains that short-term spikes usually benefit flippers and gray dealers, not everyday buyers. Chrono24 data shows the Submariner gained 15% on average between 2018 and 2023, but dropped 10% after the correction. While select vintage pieces may hold value, most modern Rolexes are not a sure bet. Timing and luck matter more than brand guarantees. No mechanical watch is immune to time. Inside every Rolex, tiny gears and pivots depend on specialized lubricants that gradually break down, even if the watch sits in a drawer. As lubrication dries, friction increases, and metal starts to wear against metal. Gaskets, which protect against dust and moisture, also degrade with age and exposure to sweat, salt water, or heat. Most watchmakers recommend a full service every 7 to 10 years, sooner if the watch sees heavy water use. Skipping maintenance risks more than just losing water resistance. It can lead to accelerated wear and costly repairs. As one independent watchmaker puts it, lubricant dries, seals age. There is no such thing as never service. Regular upkeep is the hidden cost of ownership, not a flaw, but a reality for any precision machine. Rolex's reputation for quality is not the result of clever marketing alone. The company controls nearly every step of production, from smelting its own alloys to assembling movements entirely in-house. Each movement is tested in batches before and after casing, with tolerances measured in microns. Since the early 2000s, Rolex has relied on its own calibers, abandoning outside suppliers to maintain consistency. This vertical integration allows strict quality assurance at every stage, producing watches that are reliable at scale. The brand's standing is engineered through process and oversight, not just advertising. In a world where perception often outpaces reality, Rolex thrives on the power of belief, backed by manufacturing rigor, but sustained by myth. Today, demand is driven less by facts than by desire. The real watch is just the start. The story we buy is what endures. Rolex is not a myth machine or a scam. It is a highly efficient luxury manufacturer that benefits from misunderstanding, scarcity psychology, and brand trust. Tell us in the comments which Rolex myth you believed before watching and why that story felt believable. If you value clear, factual breakdowns without hype, like the video and subscribe for more myth-busting of luxury brands, watches, and consumer status symbols.